everyone. Welcome to an awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv. Yeah, that's right. That's the company I work at. And so today is going to be a very exciting day. We have product manager for Claris Connect. With that in mind, I am going to pivot. Oh, as a reminder, for those of you wondering, this live stream is free. For all of you, none of you cut a check to get here, which is great. It is being recorded. We will clean it up and make it available in 2 or 3 days. If you want to purchase one of the training subscription bundles, I highly recommend that you do that. Check that out. Gee, there we go. The training subscriptions are there. That's awesome. And we have some upcoming new things coming for the training subscriptions as well. We'll be advertising and talking about those in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, Robert Halsey from Claris will be here talking about Claris Studio. So today is one of 2 days where we're going to talk about products that have not had the smoothest launch from Claris. And I'm at Claris headquarters, so I have to be nice enough that I don't get actually shot and thrown out of the building. But at the same time, you know, we want to be transparent. And so the Connect folks are here because they have been fixing bugs and getting the product to a point where I can personally use it. And I don't feel like somehow I've been handicapped somehow, or there's some sort of restriction on what I can do. It's becoming a viable, better product, which is great. And I'm very excited about it. And in fact, we're going to have an upcoming live stream where we're going to kind of do a step-by-step walkthrough of how to build something that's practical, that's useful with Connect. It's very exciting because I'm starting to use it. And because I'm doing that, then I believe in it. Therefore, I'm going to show it to all of you folks. Does that make sense? I never do a show on something I don't use or believe in. Right? So if someone comes to me and says, I want to do a show on Mercedes vehicles, I don't drive Mercedes, I don't believe in them, so therefore we're not going to do a show on it. So, and Christian Schmidt, Monkey Bread, same thing. I love the plugin, it is great. So with that in mind, we're going to welcome Edward. Hello, Edward, how are you?
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
He's here. He's very energetic, very happy. We're happy to have him. What are you? You are the product manager for
Claris Connect. I'm the product manager over at Claris for Claris Connect specifically.
Go ahead and share your screen.
Awesome.
We're going to jump into this. So today is not per se a step-by-step how to build it. It's to kind of frame the conversation and let you know the improvements that have been made. Claris has had me kind of reeled me into like, hey, check out Studio. Let's talk about Studio. There's going to be a really great Studio conversation 2 weeks. I'm going to really suggest everyone go to that because Claris is going to be taking a survey and doing some voting during that show where they're trying to really make it friendly to FileMaker developers immediately out of the gate. So that's exciting. And so that's another stream. Today is the Connect stream, which is very exciting. And Edward's showing us here the update for Claris Connect. And so the question is, I always ask, I mean, I guess it's probably your first slide, but people always ask me, what is Claris Connect, right? Because Richard, you don't really talk about it. You don't show it. And if it's a thing, should I even bother with it? So what is Claris Connect? I guess.
Yeah, let's go to the slide. What is Claris Connect? I think if I had to put it in a few sentences, Claris Connect is a workflow automation that helps your business.
Keep going, you're good.
That helps your business automate any of your sticky gums on your shoes to help to automate that workflow process. It's a service that's offered by Claris. It doesn't come with your FileMaker application. You have to sign up for it for free, which I can show you our current pricing of how the pricing works. But it's there to help you automate any type of third-party applications that you want to communicate with your FileMaker application, whether it's also on server or cloud.
So I'm going to just restate that for everyone. So Claris Connect is a service. It's generally going to be part of your purchase of FileMaker, right? And it's got a free tier. Obviously, there are probably paid tiers in it. That makes sense. But it's basically, instead of coding your API, your REST APIs with curl options and things like that, it allows you to use some pre-built, they call them flows. You can call them connectors, whatever you want to call them. The idea is that you can glue FileMaker to QuickBooks, which is not a great example because I think that's got a lot of lifting in it, but it's there. The demo that I'm excited about is talking about FileMaker talking to Dropbox. That has some very specific, everyone that sends emails out of FileMaker, which is probably 95% of everyone here. You also have this limitation when you send emails out that they can't be over a certain size. So I can use Connect, and I'm just now starting to use Connect, and we'll get to that momentarily. But the idea is that you can use it to get around issues or to make your life better. It's the glue that connects. That's why they named the product Connect. It's a glue that connects or attaches. I'll use the word attaches FileMaker products to each other, one, and two, also attaches it to third-party services, which is really great. So I think that's the first. I want to make sure we had that, right? So
thank you.
All right.
So going to the next slide. Now, if what Claris Connect is, I think what personally for me, when I want to say it, Claris Connect really is you get that peace of mind of set it and forget it. Because Claris, we simply integrate your external systems and data in the Claris FileMaker platform to what you already know, allowing you to focus what truly matters, focusing on driving additional conversations with customers, trying to gain new business. Don't worry about all the business workflow automations that's in your life that is just so bothersome, and so that takes up so much of your time.
Yep. So it's like the glue that helps us attach all these things together. Okay, cool.
Awesome. So then I just want to call out some key benefits of Claris Connect that I think really resonates with our developers. The first big aspect of Claris Connect is really the ability that we maintain your flows. Claris Connect handles all those different complex, different communications to all those third-party services. We monitor them, we make sure they're up to date, we make sure it doesn't break, we figure out all the authentication and have it available to you as simple as a click. That's the first thing.
Okay, I'm going to ask Margaret for questions because there should absolutely be a question here, and if you folks don't ask it, I will. The first section there, he's talking a lot of text on the slide, but he's talking about maintaining a flow. For brand new people, so we've established that Claris Connect is this service. So it's not really like a floppy disk that you buy. Okay, it's a service. Okay, then if that's a service, what is a flow?
A flow is a workflow where you have a trigger. Anything you want the data to get notified that, hey, you should do something with this data, you have a trigger, and then you have action. Where should that data that's being triggered go to? And so that data can be placed to FileMaker or it can be placed to their third-party service. So that's a flow. A flow is a trigger and action, where that data is supposed to start and where that data is going to end up with. And it gets more complex after that, but that's the underlying premise of a flow.
So flow is short for workflow, which is great. Then the next item that you had here on your list is difficulties in troubleshooting via scripting.
Correct. So, I do know, even from my time using FileMaker, trying to script, if I were to build that third-party integration from scratch, I have to figure out, okay, here are all the error messages that are going to pop up. Now, if I'm done with it, how am I supposed to launch it? How do I figure out that it works? If something goes wrong, what do I do? In Claris Connect, you have these fun aspect of, hey, if something fails at a certain step, you can auto replay that step 5 times. So it can go over that error and continue to go to make sure that's verified as an error. Another thing is it sends you an error email notification anytime something breaks. So we have an option, literally something you toggle on, say, hey, do you want email to be notified to you if something does fail? There's also fun development aspect to it, such as workflow versioning. So if you were to continue iterating on that one workflow and you make a mistake, you can easily go back by doing a click of a button and going to your version 9 as example.
Understand that fundamentally, we're not going to get into demoing this, but the Claris Connect is a web interface for the time being that you access. It's a service, it's a web browser, and you're going to, at the top of it, start with the idea that this is a flow, it's a flow name, and say, an example, the ones we're going to talk about in the future, here's the FileMaker server to talk to is like the first step that we build in this web interface, connect to this FileMaker server that we have with this credential. Second step is, here's this file we want to go. Third, we're going to identify this record, and then we're going to grab a container out of that record, for example, and transport that to Dropbox. So it's go to the FileMaker server, find this database, find this record, which you can pass that information dynamically, right?
Yep, that is correct.
Yep, and then you can pass that to Dropbox, and then you could get maybe the clickable download link to it from Dropbox example. So it's a web interface that you build, but that web interface can talk to FileMaker or it can talk to third-party services. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about, so one of the things that goes on in a world with, like, for example, when we program PayPal, we have a sample file, we do that. That PayPal file, sample file, has broke 4 times because PayPal kept changing their API. So what item number 1 is telling us is that if a service breaks their API and Claris is maintaining that flow, that basic block of code, their code doesn't work anymore because it somehow changed on the other side with PayPal or someone else. And so Claris engineering is going to fix that. Now, it might be down for a couple days or a week or whatever it is.
Days.
But Claris is going to prioritize that, fix it, and bring that back up. So you don't have to pay a programmer to do that for you, right? Does that make sense? So it's part of the benefits of paying Claris for that.
And another thing, Richard, I do want to mention is, hey, we not only fix things, we also preemptively fix it. For example, we get notifications from Shopify, from Xero, or even from QuickBooks that, hey, something's going to be changed into the API connection. This endpoint might be deprecated, or even the authentication might be changing. We proactively fix that issue before it even gets to you, which causes a problem. So we've been very proactive on this aspect over the last few months.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, so what's next? We have a question. Stand by for question.
More just that I'm just trying to understand from a clarification point of view. Because, like, for example, someone wandered up to me. I'm an intermediate level developer. My developer skills vary. If someone wandered up to me and said, "Hey, Margaret, I need you to integrate QuickBooks with finances," which has been suggested to me before, my response is generally, sorry, no. Because that would be an insanely difficult process to hard code in FileMaker. So is Connect meant to like give beginners and intermediate developers the ability to integrate stuff with API without having to go the really, really difficult hard route of understanding things more in depth than you want to?
Yeah, for QuickBooks, as an example, if you were an intermediate developer and want to just figure out a few different places of QuickBooks, for example, invoices, you want to put data, your FileMaker data into a specific invoice, it's not as complicated as, oh, I need 100 fields. If you have a very simple structure, such as 5 or 6, it's doable for any intermediate developer. Now, if it gets really intensive, then that's potentially when you would want to bring in a partner, which you may not feel comfortable in tackling on that big problem. So it really depends on your use case at the end of the day. How complicated is your QuickBooks? How complicated is your taxes?
Yeah, I think the issue is how using Connect makes the REST integration. We always talk about REST APIs and curl options and all this stuff, and some of you don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. That's the technical under the hood jargon that you have to master if you're going to connect any database product to any other service, right? Not really even a FileMaker thing. It's REST APIs make the world go round these days. And so instead of always requiring a senior engineer to do this, like Jesse's a great FileMaker developer now, but she came from the Oracle or SQL world and she got sucked into the world of FileMaker, but she has a lot of REST skill sets, right? And so it lowers the barrier for getting into that, Margaret. So someone like you who's an intermediate could do some integrations without having to get into some really kind of, I want to say nitpicky code, but it's this code like in FileMaker, if you make a mistake in a calculation or you put a comma or quote or something in the wrong place, most of the time FileMaker will warn you that you built the function wrong. In the regular world of programming, you are screwed. It just won't work, and you won't know why it doesn't work until you find that one comma or quote. So this product helps simplify that part of it, if that makes sense. It lowers the barrier to entry for advanced integrations.
Yeah, that's what I guess I was asking is like, is this a barrier to entry lower and lower? Yeah.
It's lowering the barrier to entry, as Rick Kalman used to say. So. All right.
We'll go to the next slide. I definitely want to touch upon this just very quickly because I know Sangeeta talked about security a lot for FileMaker Cloud. The way Claris Connect was brought up to the Claris ecosystem is we have to follow the same security standards. So we follow very similar security practices as FileMaker Cloud. You can assure you everything is very safe with us because if it's not safe with us, Apple, our parent company, will get very upset.
Yeah, they would be very upset, and it's great transparency like that. So for new people, Margaret, most brand new people learning about programming or something, while security is important, they want to make sure it's there. It's not something they care about initially. They just want something to work. Once it works, then they want to start using it. And once they start using it in a production environment, then they want to raise the shield. It's like think about this in the world of Star Trek, for example. You build a ship in space dock. We have shields. Turn on the shields. Dude, the thing is in a million parts. No one gives a about the shields. Okay, now everyone gets on the ship.
Yep.
Let's pull it out of the parking lot, honk the horn, go to warp drive. Now we need shields. We might need shields.
Now shields.
So you build it first, Margaret, get something going, and then, but know in the back of your mind that there's a button for shields. The shields button is this stuff on your screen right here. So.
Got it. We also have another, we have another question, which is slightly related but slightly off topic. Okay. I think I remember someone in the past stream mentioning that FileMaker to FileMaker connections within Claris Connect. What is an example use case for this to simplify the data API authentication process?
You want to take a swing at that one? They're asking, forget the last part of that sentence.
Okay.
What is the use case for FileMaker to FileMaker communication?
File to FileMaker.
Let's assuming 2 files on 2 different servers.
2 files on 2 separate servers.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so what's the use case? I mean, off the top of my head, I don't have one immediately, but it will do that, and it actually does that pretty easily.
Yeah,
right?
I don't have one off the top of my head for different files. Something I can.
Because you could sync, you could move data back and forth into a sync. It might not be the fastest sync mechanism. So here's understand that what you can do. Let me wave my hands real quick. So as I was playing with Dropbox, I discovered other things you could do with FileMaker. You can tell FileMaker to run a script for you. You can pass, I'm going to say the word script parameters back and forth, but they take the form of JSON, but you can pass script parameters back and forth. You can tell a script to run. You can force it without a script. You can tell it to find a record, add a record, edit a record. I didn't try delete because I generally get nervous when that gets put in, but if you could do that with one file, you could read a record and then go to the other file and post it. So you could write a sync with this. I don't know how performant it would be, but if you had a lightweight need, you could write between 2 different servers on 2 different continents across the world. You could
do that. I haven't seen it done from all the customers I've talked to in the past year.
Well, because there's already a sync product out there as part of the thing, right?
Yeah.
So we have a feature. So for example, what I've been trying to get with them is killer ideas and killer things that you can solve with Connect. And for me, the first killer one was email continues to suck. It's been invented. It just goes back back in 1910, Rick Kalman drove a Model T Ford. Okay, that's how old Rick is, and he drove it all over the place. And that was like a killer application. So what is the killer application? This goes back so far, right? The internet, right? Email sucks. It's always, it's every time you make it simpler, it gets harder. We still have this, for example, a 25 megabyte limit with an attachment. And I have a customer, the helicopter company that does the maintenance. They create maintenance and this invoice for $40,000 of repairs because someone tried to fly the helicopter through power lines, for example. Okay. And they want to see pictures of all that. We create a PDF. The PDF is 89 megabytes. You can't email it, yet the customer wants to see it. Killer application. How come email still sucks? It just does. We take it out of FileMaker. We put it in Dropbox or S3 or Box or something.
The preferred one.
Yep. And then you grab the link. They give you a dynamic link, and you bring that back to FileMaker through this Connect stuff, and you put it into a little text field. Then you send them an email saying, "Dear so-and-so, we're really sad that you tried to fly through the wires. However, we're able to repair the helicopter. Is $39,431. And here is an 80 megabyte PDF to explain your invoice."
Your invoice, yep.
And it's a link. And then we mail that. Almost everyone who sends meaningful emails out of FileMaker will exceed the megabyte limit somehow. And so that is a killer solution. Another one, tell Claris Connect to go to FileMaker server, grab a complete snapshot of all the databases, and then take it and zip it or something and stick it somewhere safe away. So if bad people attack your server and they get in, somehow they get into your FileMaker server because you use password 1234, or password. Your password is password.
Yep, password.
And then they get into it. You still have this completely contained backup copy elsewhere. That's a killer solution.
Yep.
And there's other ones too.
Security. But we can definitely talk about that later.
Yeah, no, I'm going off, but people are trying to understand. This is back to what I said. They're trying to understand what Connect is.
Yes.
And they care because you have killer answers to killer problems. So yeah. So security is a button. Everyone, security is a button. You press the button, shields come up. Just trust me. There you go.
I just want to cover the pricing real quick. Right now, Claris Connect, there is a free tier. So anyone can sign up, kick the tires, figure out what is that gum on their shoes, and start building that proof of concept to see, is that going to really help me in my daily lives? Then you can start moving to the next tier. Once you find that killer idea, then you can start paying. You would then be inclined to paying for this product. So I think we never had a free tier before until pretty much
recently, right?
Until last April,
yeah.
Until we decided to launch it. So this is the first time we launched something free, and we think it's a great idea to help people start discovering what Claris Connect really is. We had trial, which was a 30-day. People didn't really like that. So now it's free forever.
Yeah. So this allows you to do 500 flows, which is 500 steps, which should allow you to play with it and do basic stuff with it without running it out. And then as soon as you start to derive value once again, then you're going to pay a little bit of money to get that done.
And just to quickly go over what this step and flow usage is, the way we calculate the flow steps is really at the end of the day how long your flow is, counting the number of steps that you use times the amount of times you run it, and that will get you to the steps per month. So for example, in this example we have here, if you have a flow that's 5 steps, there's about 5 different active flows that you have. So you copy this and made it 5 different times for some odd reason. And then you decide to say, hey, I want to run this 50 times a month. At the end of the day, you'll have 1250 flow steps per month being consumed. So you definitely fit into the next tier.
Yeah, as an example, the Dropbox PDF movement email problem that we have is about a 5 flow step. So every time that we take a project or a work order that's been done on all this work and it's an 80 megabyte file, it costs me 5 total steps for it to shoot once to Dropbox. So great. Okay.
Awesome. Now going to the next one, I definitely want to mention some successful use cases that I've talked to with our customers in the last 2 quarters that, hey, some of the customers are extremely happy and they saved a lot of time and money. I have 3 successful use cases that I want to share out with your audience. The first one is order management. We have a company called Spike Brewing. They're equipment manufacturing for, of course, brewing supplies. They run a front-end operation through Shopify and Oracle NetSuite. They have FileMaker as their order management, their fulfillment management process. They integrated Claris Connect into all of this, and at the end of the day, they're able to have full visibility of the entire operation line within FileMaker. If they were to have that enabled into Oracle and NetSuite, it will cost them $12K to make that upgrade. They practically saved a ton of money just by going with Claris Connect and having that visibility within FileMaker instead of paying someone like Oracle that $12K.
Yeah. Oracle's no. There's no equation at Oracle that isn't a lot of money, right? It's made out of cash. The whole operation has got gold plated seats and chairs and everything else.
Yes, so that's the first one.
All right.
Second one, I want to talk to you about a property management company in Milwaukee. They have a bunch of apartment complexes that services a lot of different individuals. And so the problem is they get server requests that they handle manually. There's lack of documentation. So it leads to when someone gets onboarded, a lot of inefficiencies that happen. When a new tenant comes on, it's like, what do they do? Where's the application? Where do they submit it? How do they submit their payments? How do they submit those service requests? And so the solution was FileMaker, but also use Claris Connect to handle all those third-party data that comes in. They use FormStack to allow tenants to, one, apply for rental units, secondarily, submit those service requests, and last but not least, they use it to pay for their monthly bills. So I think
I haven't used FormStack yet. That's a form?
Yeah, FormStack.
Is that like JotForms or is that
It's similar to JotForm.
Or what Adobe?
Typeform. It's similar to Typeform. It's basically a form software.
Okay.
So this has saved them not only a lot of time, but it keeps their business organized and centralized. So
cool.
And they rely on FileMaker for all of this.
I like that. All right, cool.
Awesome. And then last but not least, the third use case.
Well, we've been kind of talking
about it. Yeah.
So it's once again, to me, solving something that you'd have to write a bunch of APIs to do it. But the whole point was that, listen, I'm not the biggest REST curl person. I do more management now and fly helicopters, and I'm an instructor. And so I don't like to sit and beat my head against curl when it doesn't work. You have to have a special kind of patience for that. And I'm such an impatient person, as everyone will attest to. So, not knowing if it'll work or ever work, it drives me insane. So I would rather have some other drag and drop kind of level service that allows me to do this. And I've been thrilled that they fixed, and we're going to get this momentarily, they fixed a lot of bugs, because I just, initially this was something I tried to solve back in February and it wouldn't work. And then me and Ed there was this wrestling contest. We got in a fight and then he won and then I lost. I was all bloody and stuff. He messed me up. But yeah, no, it was a very exciting time. And I just want to say that I'm really happy that they've been fixing these bugs. So if we want to move forward, we can talk about that. Let's just keep motoring forward.
Let's move forward. So recent updates that we have at Claris Connect.
Yep.
So I just want to inform everyone here, we've had a new team that was brought on specifically to focus on tackling all these bugs that customers have faced over the last 2 quarters, which has really piled up.
Okay, so I'm going to slow down.
Yes.
The people know that I haven't. My issue's been with bugs. So
yes.
So let's try this again. So you're saying that Claris hired an additional.
We brought over additional engineers to be invested specifically for Claris Connect and tackling bugs and
Bugs in Claris
enhancements.
Connect. Okay, great.
But in the very important first aspect of the middle of the year is we're going to kill those bugs.
Okay, great. I love it.
So first off, for June, that's when our team was focused on tackling these bugs. We tackled the two biggest ones, the Microsoft Entra and the AWS S3. Both of them had authentication issues. There's a lot of great success cases out there, but they were blocked. Existing customers just could not use AWS S3, and the blogs that were posted, of course, couldn't get a lot of progress because the authentication was not working properly. We fixed that back in June.
Awesome. For those of you who missed this, Microsoft has, well, whatever. They have a management team that's somewhat different, and they moved the furniture and painted the building, but it's the same building. So that's Microsoft Azure is that first one. That's their online authentication system. It used to be called Azure, Entra, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it's that's their authentication stuff. And Amazon S3, all of us should know what that is. That's the basic. Loosely, that's Amazon's giant FTP in the sky. Is loosely what that is. It's not FTP, but I'm translating.
If anyone wants to know a good use case, Align Consulting has a great blog in telling you how to use this AWS 3, the AWS 3 action, and also the use cases that they have.
Well, we should have them on the show. We have Wim back. Margaret, make a note to call Wim and see if he wants to come back on the show.
Yeah. Awesome. So then this was in June, first time our engineering was trying to tackle these bugs, grasp the concept of what Claris Connect is, and understand the code base. So let's go into July. July, they start getting a good understanding. We start tackling even more bugs, ranging from box to Claris FileMaker server, improving those error messages that people were just getting that you just didn't understand. I know everyone here who has used Claris Connect before has seen error messages that say, oh, get error, blah, 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 some string, blah, 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 don't know what went wrong. Well, now you don't see those error messages anymore. And I think that's a very big win for our customers right there.
So where the errors pop up, they show up, what, in the web interface, or where do you see the errors?
So when you try to log into your FileMaker server, there'll be a red box on top. That's where error messages. Now those have been updated. And in the next slide, I have a lot of detail about what those error messages say.
Cool.
Awesome. Next one, August comes around. Teams more familiar, more in depth with the code base. We have tackled not only bugs, but also enhancements. So one thing I do want to call out is the first line. Anytime we release a Claris Connect update, honestly, our customers don't really know. Now there's a bell on the top right that'll show you, hey, there's an update. You should check it out and read it. So that's the one small enhancements we were able to make in August. Secondarily, some error messages from our application said something like, oops, something went wrong. You don't really know what to do when you get an error message that says, oops, something went wrong. Now it will indicate give you instructions, such as in this example, go to your FileMaker data API FMREST, go to your extended privileges, and you must enable it to be able to use your FileMaker cloud server with Claris Connect.
All right. Yeah, no. Well, anytime you have an oops, something went wrong, mine normally say, holy something exploded. The idea, Margaret, okay, so you're an intermediate developer. If you code that into a dialogue, the running thought process is that someone will come behind you shortly after it works and validate and then clean up the messaging. So that didn't happen, but now it has. So
now it has.
Yes.
You cannot see those terrible error messages that to a user is like, what do I do?
Yeah. Oops, life is not worth living, right? You know, it's something. It's like, okay.
Good luck. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, what's next?
Let's go to the next one. So in August, we were able to get 2 releases out specifically for bugs and enhancement. And this is a long list, but I'll just call out a few that could be relevant to the audience. The first one is something related to Claris ID. When you log into Claris Connect from a brand new computer, you'll get an error message saying, hey, if you're trying to sign in from an unrecognized device. That's it. Don't know what to do. It doesn't tell you what to do after. Now we update it to say, hey, you try to sign in from an unrecognizable device, go to your email to verify. It was a big pain point to people someone like you, who try to bring customers on, they get into this error and they're like, what do I do?
Yeah. Margaret, hopefully you're getting the vibe that they're going through and fixing these things, right?
Yes. The problems are being addressed and not just quietly shuffled off the side of a cliff and ignored.
Yes.
Okay.
And the second thing, especially related to you, Richard, is we resolved that authentication token that expires too quickly. Now it doesn't expire at all, which is a real amazement.
Yeah, that's
So, and the third and not least is I personally experienced this myself. If I run into a problem in Claris Connect, how do I contact support? Of course, I can just Slack them, but if I were just any other user, how do I contact them? So I try to go to the user journey. I was like, click a button, click a button, click a button. Oh my God, I'm 4 clicks.
I have a
in.
question. I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. First question is: there's actually living people that will talk to you about Claris Connect.
Yeah.
No. I'm asking. Like, you're saying this is a real thing, but
Yeah.
what will they help you with? Like the Claris Connect support people.
Oh, Claris Connect support. If there is a problem, something that you don't understand in Claris Connect, they're more than happy to educate you, give you additional links, or if what you're experiencing is actually a bug, they'll make a ticket in the back end, see if DevOps can fix it. If not, it'll come to my plate and I'll prioritize it in my backlog. If this is really a strong issue that's affecting a lot of customers, it's something we probably already know and are tackling it. But since you reported that ticket, it helps me be informed that there are additional customers still facing it and that we need to fix this problem ASAP. So customer support, they triage all these issues, figure out, hey, is this something, one, I can solve? Two, do I need to provide them more help links? Does Edward, the product manager, need to generate more help links to help our customer user base? Or third, is something that maybe it's just so they forgot their password or something along those lines.
No. Well, this is okay. Well, this is like tech market. Margaret, you weren't around back then. This is like tech support from like 1989 or 1990 or 91, right? This is what tech support used to look like back in the old days. And I think Claris is going the extra mile here to get over the hump with some of these issues, right? Most tech support these days, they like call, sir, please give us your credit card. Now, I just have a question. Now, give us your credit card number first, sir. So this sounds like more like old school where they actually want to solve the problem.
Yeah, I know.
Before you were born, but this is how in the old days, right?
Yes.
But that people would run out and put gas. Most places you pump your own gas in your own car.
Correct.
Well, but in the old days, they come out, they'd wash your windows, they'd put gas in your car, they'd say, "Wow, sir, you're such a nice person. I'm glad you're here to buy the gas from us," right? So this is it's almost like old school tech support. That's interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think this is really a testament because we don't want people to just come in and just give up that they don't understand something. Please reach out to support.
Well, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing.
That's what they've been doing.
And it's been hard to figure out how do I contact support. You have to go through 4 different links to figure out. Now, we make it so much easier. You go to the question mark on the top right, and it has a tab that says contact support. It will take you to our support page. All you need to do is send an email, tell them what their problem is, and they'll triage and figure out if I can help them or not.
Okay. Well, I'm duly impressed that we're all taking this seriously. Okay, what else we got?
Then what else we got is also documentation. There's 2 big pieces to it. One is all of our FileMaker connectors documentation. They were very vague at first. I took a first stab at reading it. I'm like, if I was a developer, I wouldn't understand where to go after I read this one statement. It would just lead me to more Googling and more Googling. So anytime you look at when you look at any FileMaker connector documentation, it will take you to additional links. From this one sentence, if you don't understand what that one sentence is, it will take you to another link that help you understand exactly how to configure your FileMaker application to get it to work with Claris Connect.
Yeah, it's been a issue with both Studio and Connect is the documentation. So, and I know that the Studio team's working on it too as well. So, they're fairly new products for a company that historically didn't make new products, right? For those of you thinking about this a little bit, just stand back for a second, think about this. Claris had FileMaker Pro, FileMaker Pro, and Mac and Windows. Go was their last newer product. That and then Studio, but Studio came, or not Studio, Claris Cloud, but that came from the FileMaker server Linux that was never shipped, right? And so if you think about this, Claris since Bento hasn't really had a legit, like straight up new product, and so suddenly, new management team, we're going to have 2 new products or 3 new products if you count Claris ID as another product, right? Suddenly you have to build new products. What does that mean for an organization that doesn't make new products? It's scary. And they've forgotten how to do it. And I'm not once again being mean. We're making progress on this. We're turning the corner. Hopefully, most of you are seeing this. So, but think about it. It's building new products. If you haven't built new products, like right. So
another thing is we're trying to create an avenue for developers to start communicating to us about everything that they want to see improved in Claris Connect. So there's 2 links. The first one is a product backlog. That's for anything that's related to basically the Claris platform. We have enhancements of Connect, we have enhancements of Studio, enhancements of FileMaker. All of those type of feedback should go in the first link. Now the second link is more so about our range of connectors. We have a connector list backlog where we want your feedback on which ones are the right connectors our team should spend our effort, spend our time and supporting, and what are the specific triggers and actions you're specifically looking for. I am wide open to hearing about all those different connectors that you need supported, that you want us to support, so we can build them out. And if you look at the list and see that your preferred connector isn't there, there's a survey on there where you could click and fill it out. Give us your use case. Give us the website of the service that you want to talk to, and what's your use case? Tell us about it. I'm really interested in learning about it and really building that out for you.
Yeah, no, it's good. Next slide.
Next slide is our short-term backlog. So this is more talking about what is in our roadmap in the next, say, 1 to 2 months.
Where's that at? Or is that the link that we had in the
Oh, that's right here.
Okay.
So I have 2 items that I am working on as my highest priority.
Okay.
One is moving flows from one organization to another that you own. So I've seen this time and time again from our partners. They have a lot of different clients. They build a flow that they have in their partner organization. They show it to the client. Client says, I love it. I want it. How would the client do it? Okay. You would then transfer, well, you have to rebuild the entire flow in that new customer's organization. That is such a trivial and really time-intensive process. We're in the process of making an ability where if you have access to both organizations, you can move that single project to the other organization that you own. So that's something that we've heard time and time again from our customers, and we are almost there.
Good.
And
All right.
The second one is also, of course, expand our library of additional connectors. We have a big backlog of additional connectors that we want to build, but I want your feedback. Which one's the most important? Which ones should I focus my time on the most? And I really want to hear it from you guys right here. Of course, if you fill out the link and give me your feedback there, list out the triggers and actions, that would be wonderful.
We have questions.
Well, we have one question. We also have something from Sean, which I thought is a good thing to read out loud.
Okay.
Just a comment here. I'm working directly with Richard on the Dropbox project, and as a relatively new FM engineer, 2 years ago I didn't know what FileMaker was. I really appreciate the ease of entry into the Claris Connect platform. I'm just now getting into API integrations, but my experience so far with Connect has definitely contributed to my understanding of how 2 systems interact with each other. I can see the appeal and power of it, and to have that versatility with the relatively low expertise necessary is a really rare experience.
So this is the guy who helped with Dropbox.
Oh,
This is Sean, right? And he's also working on trying to talk to an AI API that we don't have a connector for yet. Doesn't exist. So he's having to do it. What he's saying is, in plain English, is he has an old-fashioned way of coding it with REST APIs and curl and stuff, and he's wrestling with that. And he's saying that would be really great if you built a connector for it, but the connector just the short version of the situation. So here's the situation. We're going to do a whole show on this. So here's what happens. Everything is born from misbehaving customers. So we have a customer, the helicopter people, and I tell them every time you do something or discover something, please write it down on the computer. And I built a computer on a rolling stand like the one you see here, and they roll them around the hangar, and they can type in, except they're on top of the helicopter, literally 30 feet in the air on top, trying to grease something or fix something, and they forget what they're going to do by the time they crawl off of it and hit the keyboard. So I said it would be really great if we said, you're talking to Siri, but we're not talking to Siri. It'd be like FileMaker. Go into FileMaker on your phone, and then you just create a new voice memo. We're on top of this helicopter that went through the power lines, and we had to find the muffler bearing was misaligned by 3 shims worth of Snafflewuffagus. And you say all this out, and then this is on the project for helicopter, November 76 Papa Echo, 3 hours of labor. Click. It's an audio file. It goes to the online service, and the AI translates it into whatever language, and then we tell, as part of the programming, give me the description of the problem best you can, the aircraft it's attached to, so we know where to do this, and the number of hours, and it goes to the work order,
Yeah.
finds a new item in the work order, and creates it from that. So they can be on top of the helicopter, hanging upside down, doing a recording because they are too busy / grumpy / they don't. I used pen and paper for the last 120 years, and I rode to work this morning on my horse, and I'm not using no computer, right? And so, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
It's sometimes that bad, and so what I'm trying to do is make it so for them not to have their phone. Well, we don't have a phone while we're hanging on top of the helicopter. Just put it around the neck. Put a lanyard around your neck, a little rubber band thingy, and then you can grab it, and then you let go, and it just hangs under your neck. Solving customer problems for what we call, it's a live stream called Solving Customer Problems for Disagreeable customers who are unworthy of my love or something, right? They're just hard customers to have.
Yes.
And it's an API that does that. So that is a killer application that Connect would help us solve. It would be awesome.
Yes,
I want it done tomorrow. Thank you very much, Ed.
Send it right. Send me that email.
Work all night, get it done. No, this is the stuff we are actively doing. And so this is the kind of stuff, if you have a connector that
does that already,
that's not there, then write it up and explain it. I don't expect Ed to do this one, but actually at the end of the day, it's not the dumbest thing on the planet for you to do this one. So we'll probably build a prototype and then show it to you, and you're like, maybe the rest of the community would like it.
Yeah.
How many disagreeable?
I would love it. Ask them right now.
Okay, Margaret, how many, we want to get surveys out there. How many of you are in-house developers or consultants, and you have one or more users who use FileMaker who are grumpy and or disagreeable? Not counting yourself.
Not to say, like, I don't count, right? We have the same person in mind.
You understand what I'm saying? This actually voice dictating data and getting it accurate and having it dropped into the correct fields. That's kind of a big deal.
Yes, if it works. If it works. It was a big deal.
Okay, Sean, only if it works. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Ed Burkle says, if I have to discount myself, I have 0 disagreeable customers.
Well, then you're not very helpful, Ed. Thanks for that. Ed's not helpful. Ed is a fire marshal.
Oh, really?
I don't know where he's at, but he goes into businesses and says, he goes into Claris and say, okay, you have a tank of hydrogen over there, and a vat of plutonium over there. Not very safe. Might start a fire. And
so does inventory management and just writes everything.
He writes it all down. Although most of these people do iPads these days. We've done iPads.
Yeah.
But they do. It's a property inspection or a health and safety inspection, right? So.
Cora also said, wow, Richard, I really relate a lot to what you said. Pen and paper, the strength or weakness of civilization, which is...
Now, we're covering deep topics here. This is not FileMaker. This is philosophy. It's upper division philosophy at a major university.
Yeah, if you're not in the right class, please feel free to leave. Go to the next class over. Algebra is right next door.
A lot of people are saying that they'd love this feature. We have a question.
Whoa, which feature?
I think probably the voice. Yeah, because you're talking about that about 90 seconds ago. The voice to text thing. Well, because I've been seeing that brought up a lot.
Well,
AI is becoming a thing. People want to dump it in their FileMaker AI and go tell me where the invoice is, without actually having to type anything, which is a little difficult.
Well, we're not okay. So our goal is with FileMaker Go is that we do the dictation, and it's going to create a new record and attach it to that project for the repair that helicopter, and then we don't care. We just did the dictation and we're done. And we're going to the next thing. Dictation done. And then the back office people, in quotes, back office, they can see that showing up on the project, and then they hit a button that we scripted because we watched fmtraining.tv and we learned how to do this, and it takes all those things and it rolls it up into an invoice. And then someone else signs off on the invoice, says, yeah, it looks good. It's $41,221, and then they send it. But oh no, there's a PDF attached to that. No, the PDF fails because it's too big. No, connect it to Dropbox. Get the link. See,
Richard, you when you're
I'm selling your stuff.
Next live stream, please invite me over. So right now, I want to go through some ideas that the product team is thinking
and we don't have a hard stop. You don't have anything.
No, I can go till 2:15, 2:20.
That'll be fine.
We have enough time.
We'll be done for them.
So the first idea that we've been thinking about is sharing your pre-built flows through a URL. So just imagine this: you built this master flow, and you want to share it out to your customers or to the community. How will you share that out? Through a link. I would share that out through a link, and they can open it, open that flow, connect their own authentication, and they start do exactly what your master flow was doing. Would love to get thoughts and feedback on that idea. Okay, second idea is I know right now we have custom connector. Should we release more custom connector templates from the connectors that we support? I would love your feedback on that. Is that something that you really want to see? Expand that library of custom connectors. Third is for each one of our single connectors that we have, the most popular ones, we don't support every single endpoint that's available because there's just so many. We pick the ones that have commonalities with our customers that one endpoint could solve 10 different customers. We're thinking about offering the ability where we can have a special action, advanced action at the end of these popular connectors, and you can enter in the exact endpoint that you want to talk to, and the fields will be available. Definitely will love your feedback on this. And last but not least is the fourth idea. This is more about trying to get started with Claris Connect. This is where you would type in your problem and have Claris Connect build your flow for you. For example, I could say, hey, I want to be able to be notified every time a new record is entered in FileMaker. I want that to be notified in Slack. You type that down, it'll give you the flow itself. You authenticate your accounts, you sign into your Slack, you enter in your FileMaker server details, and all that will be built for you. We'd love to get your thoughts on that too.
So how do they register their thoughts with you?
I think for these ideas, I would just love to hear it from the chat itself. Just say, yay, that's a good idea. Like, I think at the end of this, please tell me out of these 4 ideas, which ones you want to see the most. And you think it's more than just one idea, then give me 2 at max. Just start listing out idea number 1, idea number 2, or is it going to be idea number 3, idea number 4 that you care about the most, that you really want me to build? Because all these ideas are very wide range, and I definitely love to get insight about, hey, which one's the most important to you that we should start exploring, and also start building this out.
So for idea number 4, is that like AI controlled, where you just type in, oh, I need this to happen, and then it just for you, and then you check it, or
Yeah,
exactly.
That's kind of how it would go out. You would type in exactly the flow you would like to imagine, or the applications that you need to work together. Say what you wanted to do, and AI will try its best to generate that flow.
All right, I'm going to share my screen real quick. This is the Claris Connect window right here, everyone. His is the idea is that you're in Claris Connect and you have these flows, and the flows have these steps. Step. It says 5. Oh, Here we go.
Yes,
there we go.
That's the flow that
this
we're
is what
together.
we're looking for. Okay, so when this workflow, I'm gonna wave my hands, workflow, right, is over here, is triggered by script. It's going to get the record ID from a FileMaker file, right? Wave your hands. You're the video guy now. Keep going. Direct. And then it's going to grab the file from the container and send it to Dropbox. So it's a Dropbox, right? And then we have a little bit of we call it, in TV, it's called a pregnant pause. It's an awkward pause where you're like if me and Ed are both looking at each other, like, can you say that on TV? And will I be fired for this? And there's that weird pause. And then you keep going. And so it's in here about 30 seconds. It allows Dropbox to catch up. Then it grabs the Dropbox link and it brings it back, and it creates a new record in this table in FileMaker with the necessary ID. So we have the link in there that we can grab and send an email. So when he's talking about the flows and everything, he's talking about taking this flow here and sharing it or recycling it or giving it to your friend or whatever, if that makes sense. So this is let me see. I can duplicate it. I can delete it. I can rename it. I can see how.
You can't share it.
Yes. Yeah, you can't share it. And that's kind of, so the problem is, once again, this has been a problem with studios, that you build something really amazing, and then someone says, oh, I want that. And then what you have to do to them is you have to say, I'm sorry, I have to build it completely from scratch all over again. And then we look at you, Ed.
Just look at me.
And we wonder, what is wrong with you? So
priorities.
Priorities, right?
Yes.
I understand. So
And I definitely want more feedback, especially from your community, saying, "Hey,
hey, I
to
need
you,
Margaret.
which one's
I
the
need
most
feedback.
important?"
I need feedback, right? But interesting, eh? So that's how this kind of works and looks, right? So this talks to FileMaker, and you're like, oh, how does that work? You click on it, and it goes through this whole little song and dance, and it actually connects to the BVA FileMaker
Oh my
server.
God, why is it not loading?
It's not loading because
Something broke.
whatever. Yeah, but it could be my fault. Who knows? So that's what happens when we do demos on live TV. I have not practiced. I just want to show people what this looks like.
Yes.
So this is basically the flow, and it's the code. If you wrote code in quotes, this is the code.
Well, it reminds me a bit of script steps because reading a FileMaker script steps is pretty conversational.
This is like this. This is supposed to be very readable by a normal intermediate person.
If you create a new flow, I think you can.
Can I do a new flow?
Oh, now you're stuck. Oh, we will fix this bug. I'm gonna prioritize this highly.
Hey, nothing like getting handed to you on live TV that
Yes.
causes bugs to get fixed. You should have all the engineers sit behind you, and then when there's embarrassment, they all have the collective shame of the bug, right?
No.
So
I can handle it all myself. I got this.
the collective
this is all me.
shame.
I will
Collective
fix
shame.
this.
All right, new flow. Okay, so here you pick a new flow.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk
Server.
the file. This one here, probably this one.
FileMaker server.
We're going to try this one.
Yep.
Triggered by a script of FileMaker server.
Yep.
You say, yeah, that's what I want.
Now you authenticate. It's already been authenticated.
It's to this server right here.
Yep.
Okay. So
or you could connect to a new one, but let's go with the one right there.
Okay, so then what you do is you press these buttons here, right?
So after you confirm, and I think right now you might have broken it.
Okay, this thing is broke as we broke it. But yes, then you would hit continue, and then all this would
Because
be...
since you messed up and you didn't really actually confirm yet, you have to go back. You have to go exit out of this project, exit out of the flow, and try again. So going back in.
Like a new project?
No. Go to the same project.
This one?
And try building it again.
New flow.
Yep, and you should be able to continue.
Okay.
Yep, trigger by script, continue, sign in.
Okay, it pre-connected.
Pre-connected, yep.
Okay, and then it's...
and it's not allowing you to continue.
You have to select? No, it is selected.
This selected. I think there's something funky that we made your account.
Well, it could be...
You have ETS on the bottom left. I think we might be playing with it.
No, it's secret.
You don't have anything secret in there right now.
No one's saying anything.
We can just chalk this up to ETS shenaniganery then.
Well, this is where this all goes, right? So this is the whole idea is that you go through these steps and it sets it up. And when it does this stuff and you folks aren't here, then I call Ed and say, Ed, no.
Something wrong.
It's wrong. Make it work. So, but that's where this all goes, right? And so this is generally, I mean, to be honest with you, I've never seen it hang up like this. My browser is also running a live stream, so there's other things going on here. It's probably my fault, in all honesty, but I'm happy for you to take the blame.
Thank you.
That's quite
I
all
will
right.
take the blame because it's your ETS account.
Okay, we'll have to check.
As for commentary from people.
Yeah, let's get some feedback from people. Here we go. Now we're going to judge your performance. All right.
A lot of people want voice to text, either by connecting to like something like Twilio or whatever. The whole voice to text thing, people are very interested in that.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, just real quick, I got a comment from Sean who got it to work with REST and curl, which means that we could give it to Claris and let them know. Sean, can you give us the name of that service real quick? I know you're watching here. What is the name of the service that we used to drop the audio on? And it also has the AI built in. If you could post that. So this will we have it as a point of reference.
Definitely.
But I don't do a lot of too esoteric stuff. Everything I do is pretty low, what I consider horizontal things, not vertical. Like, hey, we need to detect what kind of teeth are in your head for the dentist. I'm like, that's a very vertical market.
Yes.
Voice dictation goes to
anyone.
Yep. Yeah, like Cora saying we'd love it for sure. Voice to text would be amazing in field work.
Oh, I love these use cases. Please email me.
Okay, so let's talk about people emailing you and they want to have questions or comments. How do they contact you, Ed?
You can contact me by emailing to edward_lee5@claris.com.
Edward_Lee, Lee, the number 5 at Claris.com, and tell them what you think.
What about the voice?
Yeah, tell them what you think.
Yes. Idea. People like the AI idea, but there are some people expressing concerns that new developers who use the AI to get it to do the flow for them would then not know how to bug fix the problem if it didn't work perfectly.
Back up. So the question is, okay, so we're not
Just a
having an
comment.
AI build the workflow. Let's just be
No, but that was a suggestion because
clear. AI
That's the
build the
idea.
Word
workflow.
Yeah,
has-
so you type exactly what you want, and we'll build you the flow for you.
yes.
Oh, that's the okay. I was busy trying to get the demo to work. I
Yes,
wasn't
yes.
listening to that. I'm sorry. So yeah, if you have a computer do your job and then the computer dies, it's like you're on an airliner and the autopilot quits working and you're not really a pilot. You just sat the seat and hit the
Richard,
button.
It's actually similar to like full self driving in Tesla.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It drives
absolutely.
for
If you
but
can't
don't-
drive,
you don't
but
know
you
how
have
to
an auto
drive,
drive,
then you have a problem.
you have a problem.
But onto that point though, with Claris Connect, after you build a flow, it doesn't automatically turn on. If there's bugs in it, then you have to start debugging, and you start debugging. It's like, okay, maybe I didn't build it properly exactly I want, so you have to build it from.
What's really cool
That's-
about this, and I never understood, and this goes way back, because the way this whole thing was handled back in 2019. Claris bought this company called StandPlay. StandPlay, the product became Claris Connect. What makes it neat is the way it represents JSON graphically. We have JSON that's really this kind of ugly indented text stuff. Not very pretty. Steve Jobs would have all over it if he was alive, to be clear. You can quote me on that. I guarantee I will stay on that statement. I will stand on that statement. However, if you could graphically represent the JSON, which is what StandPlay did, which is why Claris got excited about it, or at the time FileMaker Inc., and they bought it. And that makes a lot of sense. When you folks see it, we're going to do training on it, you will be blown away. It's really kind of neat, right? So, all right.
I think I have one last slide that I do want to share with the.
Oh, okay. Because there's increasingly swirling conversation. So let's do this.
People have a lot of questions. We're going to keep going here. So go ahead and show your slide if you want. But go ahead,
share.
Margaret, if you want to throw a question out or a conversation.
Claris Connect has a chat in the service product? Question mark.
Okay, people are thinking about that. Okay, that's like the thing about like an add-on. Like if you could drag and drop it on your FileMaker Pro. It's not a bad idea. FileMaker Pro
Yeah.
or forget Studio for the moment.
Mhm.
And you drag on an add-on
Yep.
that gives you the ability to talk to your team and have like a chat interface.
Yeah.
You say something, someone else says something, back and forth. An add-on would do it, would do the graphical, but the backend could be done with Claris because all you're moving is strings of text with Claris Connect.
Wait, so is the idea that can Claris Connect make a chat bot or
Not a chat bot.
or chat interface?
Just a chat interface, right? But if you think about it, it's an add-on would do it, but if an add-on did it, then it would have to hook probably to a third-party
Yes.
service. But if an add-on could somehow be attached to a flow, you're asking for ideas. Welcome to
Yeah,
Idea Line. This
yeah.
is an idea. Okay,
I'm trying to
be
grasp
clear,
it right now.
this is a
grasp it.
really, okay, so if you're in FileMaker, let me just go over here to this and I'll just pop up a new file. So the idea here, and okay, we're going to upload this idea too. It is very mad at me. All right, well, the point
Do
is
you
you're
want me to do
FileMaker.
this?
Margaret, you do it. Margaret, you're
Okay.
a professional developer. You do it.
I can at least make the file. I don't quite share screen.
Just open,
Yeah,
open as-
now. And assets. Go.
enter that.
There you go. Yeah, something's
So
wrong
you're-
with your
Okay, then go to layout mode. Okay, go to layout mode.
yes.
And then the idea is that you have add-ons up here. There's
Yep.
an add-on. Just click on that, right? The add-on right there. Now you could add an add-on here, would say intercompany communication,
Mhm.
right? Now most people use Slack and stuff, but what if you want one just
This is a
inside?
FileMaker.
Yeah, or you could have one that's part of a record as a conversation about. Well, there's one helicopter. This
Oh.
guy's an asshole,
Yeah.
and he crashed a helicopter, and he doesn't want to pay more than $5. And he called and threatened us. And so there's this conversation going back and forth right across this record. You could do an add-on like that, but if you had an add-on, you could have it communicate to other things with Connect, I think is the question,
I
right?
see.
I mean,
So you first a chat box in FileMaker.
the chat
and
box in
all the
FileMaker,
chats that happen will move over to.
you could
say,
actually cross-thread them into Slack.
yes,
cross-
You could cross-thread
Slack
them into
or
Slack.
Microsoft Teams.
Oh.
Well, you could also someone's saying chat to speak with a technician. So I guess you could have a chat connected to your developer, sends them a message immediately.
Oh yeah. Hey, we got a bug here. You go do your job and fix it. Right.
Like your premium tier, right?
Premium tier customer gets the
24/7.
chat box. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it fires off.
And they subscribe to that service for you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, that's a good idea. This is the kind of stuff. Margaret, just keep going.
Connect could check an email inbox for an order and insert the order to my database? Question mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you could do that with a plugin now, right? There are plugins that do that now. But the idea with this Connect service is that it's not just because a plugin could read an email, but I think Connect conceptually is a lot bigger umbrella of awesomeness, right? It's not really just the email thing. It's think about it. It does QuickBooks, it does this, it does emails, it does Dropbox
Forms.
and Box and S3 and Slack and Zero, and it doesn't do PayPal because apparently Apple got into a fight
We
with
do
PayPal.
Stripe. We do Stripe.
You do Stripe?
Yep, we do
Oh,
Stripe.
okay, that's good. We can do credit cards. All right.
We have another comment from Cora, which is, here are a couple of things we realized would be great while we were working on developing use cases for fieldwork. Messages and notifications for connected users. The ability to represent spatial data more easily, and tools for drawing. Thank you. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think there's one slide, and thank you for that feedback. There's one slide I do want to touch upon is at the end of this whole presentation that we did. Really, the message to the audience is, hey, identify that gum on your shoe, that everyday annoyance, and let Claris Connect help you finally get rid of it. We've seen from our existing customers who started using Claris Connect, they found that daily manual thing that they hated the most, which is one, having that full transparency to the order management, or two, even how can I centralize all my tenants and keep it into like a CRM database? Is really the answer is Claris Connect with FileMaker. And similarly, with your solution, Richard, how do we make it more easy to just send that email with a large attachment?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, everyone has little issues that make it difficult for them, and I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. Little things that make their lives difficult or their customer lives difficult. Really, as a developer, our lives are supposed to be difficult. That's why we're paid the big bucks. If doing this was easy, then we would dig ditches for the living, and everyone else would be developers. But it's not. It's hard. But you want your customer's life to be as smooth and as friction-free as possible. Find out where. So the customer, the aviation customer for me, was telling me that they were not documenting all the things they did on the aircraft.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, and they would give it away for free,
Yeah.
right? So the bill might be 30,000 instead of 40,000, and that's like 25%. They came to me and goes, Richard, after we started enforcing the typing, which they keep backsliding on. They do it, then they kind of forget, they get busy and they quit doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why the voice to texting is such a thing. They came to me and goes, Richard, we've been underbilling our customers by like 25%. And I go,
God.
so you're telling me by using FileMaker, you're actually, and if you actually are diligent about data entry, however we do the data entry, right? However we do that, that you're going to have 25% higher billings. And they go, yes. As a developer, that makes me feel sad that they've been missing it, but makes me feel wonderful that I helped them discover that. Yay, right? You're a valuable consultant, right? And this is the feedback that we get back to Ed and the Connect team, and frankly, Robert and the studio team, of these things that we're seeing, all of you are seeing, write them up, send them to Ed, right? Margaret, other questions?
Sean was saying that Assembly AI was the service that.
Assembly AI. And that's a sub-product from who? Who's the parent on that?
Okay, we're going to do a Margaret Google. Give me a second.
All right.
Assembly AI.
I've not heard of that one before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a sub-product of a bigger, thought it was OpenAI, but that's what.
No, this one looks like it's different. It says Assembly AI, build the future of speech AI. They specialize in speech AI specifically. So, product, speech to text, streaming speech to text, speech understanding.
Speech understanding, that's what we need, because then it could find the relevant data. Like Ed Burkle's doing a fire inspection. I see, 12 sticks of dynamite just littered in the ground. This is not safe, and then then he says violation of public resource code 48.13CB. Then you ask the AI to find what's the description, the location, and what was the regulatory code that they violated, and it would go in there, find it, parse it to JSON, and allow you to feed it straight into a FileMaker record without any data entry. Pretty good live stream. So you can see as we start to solve real world problems, it gets exciting, right? It gets exciting. I love solving real problems.
I love solving problems too.
All right, good.
Mostly just comments that Connect, I think, solves the problem of having to update every time the API of a provider changes. Yes, I think that was mentioned earlier, right?
Solution.
What's
That's
the
service
idea?
we're offering.
That's the problem with this. That's the problem with all this. I mean, in general, when this stuff first came out, and I'm an old school guy, I'm like, okay, what happens if the internet's down? Because that still does happen. Uh, and what happens if the code changes and breaks and suddenly you have, what if this API thing you're doing is like the most critical thing that keeps the wheels, it was like that, that CrowdStrike thing or whatever, and they blew up half the internet.
The blue screen of death.
What the Delta lost, I think Delta lost 400 million. Yeah, 300 some odd million. Yeah, it was quite a bit. And they went on TV and said, oh yeah, well that exceeds the value of the CrowdStrike people, right? Yeah. So if they had to pay out, they're instantly bankrupted, right? So what do you do about that? That's a bad place to be. But the question is if you have dependencies on outside REST stuff, we have to robustify those connections, robustify that infrastructure so you don't just get hosed, right?
Yeah.
Because every time when PayPal breaks, then I'm like, have to call an engineer. It's like, get this done. We can't run credit cards for a day or two at RCC. That's my finance team goes into a panic. I'm serious.
Back
right?
to invoices.
Yeah. Oh, paper. Yeah. Yeah.
Or sending you a check. Oh my God.
Man, they hate that. Oh, they hate paper. They hate paper. All right. Other questions because we're running out of Ed's time. Ed's supposed to
hop off.
You have
to a meeting.
Yeah, Labo says they would like entity detection. Don't know what entity detection is, but
I'm thinking like database structural entity detection, or are we talking about like X Files where there's an entity inside my? Do you like Prometheus, the new Alien movie? You have an alien inside you. Coming out of someone's.
I think we're good. I think we can free Edward and let him go back to his life.
Yeah, go buy and get our more bugs fixed. This is awesome. All right, Ed. Well, everyone, it's been a great day. We're going to let Ed go. He's been a great sport. I have been brutally honest and transparent. Hopefully you folks can tell that. Yeah, no, it's you can tell that I'm enthusiastic about the direction that Claris seems to understand that the product should not be completely littered with bad error messages and bugs. It's very exciting that they're figured this out and that they're going to give us or the process of giving us the tools to move forward, which is great. Thanks, everyone. Email Ed or Edward?
Edward, please.
EDWARD _ LEE5
at Claris.com.
Claris.com. Edward,
bye, everyone.
There we go. Bye.